the worst tragedy since World War II. A quake so powerful that it caused the Earth to sink several feet. A tsunami ripped through the northeast coast, leaving tens of thousands dead as Japan's shoreline turned to rubble. The destruction that occurred left so many homeless, mourning over the loss, searching for answers, and reaching for a glimmer of hope. March 11, 2011, 2:46 p.m., 60 miles off the coast, the massive 9.0 magnitude earthquake and tsunami caused the government of Japan to seek help from the international community. The U.S. responded with a deluge of hope, a major operation that brought new meaning to the Japanese phrase, Tomodachi, translated friendship. Operation Tomodachi was born, and Misawa Air Base in northern Japan responded to the call. Misawa Air Base was well positioned to respond to the crisis. In the midst of an operational readiness exercise, the Emergency Operations Center was already activated. When the shaking stopped, the base commander, Colonel Michael Rothstein, ordered leaders to account for everyone who calls Misawa home.
All right, everybody try and take accountability.
Accountability recall for all family members and active duty members. There's a tsunami warning, 6 meters expected. There's no time frame as of yet. We'll continue to update you as we get more information.
This is the command post. Real world. The 35th Fighter Wing Commander has directed a full accountability recall for all military and family members.
We were already in exercise mode when this natural disaster occurred, and so we were already in 24-hour shifts taking care of our exercise phase 1. So we smoothly transitioned into basically a humanitarian effort here on base, taking care of our families. Our first priority was to feed them, so we already had our DFAC open. Obviously the capacity has been extended quite a bit, but luckily those operations went smoothly into taking care of all these people you see here.
Communication was a critical problem. The 35th Force Support Squadron established an EFAC, an Emergency Family Assistance Control Center, the base community center.
And what the Emergency Family Assistance Control Center is basically we invite the families in to share the most up-to-date information releasable by Public Affairs, and all the other supporting agencies come in, to include the chaplain, Red Cross. We have our military family life consultants come in to offer their assistance. We open up the phone banks, play area, and also upstairs we have counseling rooms, briefing rooms, and behind you we have our command and control center and all these other resources available to the families because they have been basically put out of their house because of the cold and no electricity.
We have been in line for about an hour and a half, gone about 45 feet. This line is just winding through the commissary, but we're getting what we need, hopefully, and hopefully we'll have power back on before we need to use it all.
What we're doing is we opened up at 0815, utilizing primarily managers and some volunteers from the community. And what we've been doing is issuing groceries, selling meat, selling grocery items, and bread products.
The next step, begin the long process to recover from the damage.
Try to fix anything that was damaged as possible. That was the first thing going through my mind, cut off steam, cut off water, cut off the power. So that's what we did, jumped in our trucks and went out.
Right here we're hooking actually one of our generators up to this electrical panel to supply power to so everybody else that comes in and helps with the rest of the search and rescue for the base, supplying power to the base, has somewhere to stay, has heat, has power, can wash them, dry their clothes, can eat.
The 35th Civil Engineering Squadron worked day and night to restore critical services to the base population.
We got the call for Hangar 949 being backed up, and with all the search and rescue personnel in there, it was pretty much every drain was backing up and overflowing with raw sewage. So we troubleshot from there, found the manhole that we stopped up at. Unfortunately, it's right before a lift station, so to get down to the sewage line, it's a good 25-30 feet down. So we thought it was a sewer break from the earthquake, but it just happened to be some asphalt debris down there blocking the line. We don't have equipment here on base to go down there and pick stuff up out of the line, and it's just better to get someone down there and get a visual eye on it, and then pick the debris out.
Good. Broken float in the mech room, and it's just dumping water from the mech room all throughout the steam pits, as you can see right here, where it's pumping out of the ground. And so we're just trying to remove all the water, cut the supply water off, and then secure everything down.
Freezing temperatures made it absolutely essential to repair steam transmission lines which supplied heat to the base.
We're repairing a 6-inch steam line which supplies the base housing, school, hospital, and some of the TOF housing.
I guess, with an earthquake, the rumbling and, when it moves, it just shifts the valve. And the valves have gaskets and stuff that holds them together to keep them from leaking. And that the impact of the vibration is what actually damaged the gasket.
To keep lines like this operational would be to keep the buildings warm.
I guess on a point of energy conservation, because of the leak, our boiler plants have to push more steam, which in the end, it kind of uses up more fuel because it's making our boilers work a little bit more harder.
227 miles southwest of Misawa, the tsunami crashed ashore at the Fukushima nuclear power plant. The implications for Misawa Air Base were ominous.
Nuclear protection, one of the tenets of nuclear protection is time, distance, and shielding. And so Misawa, we subscribe to distance. And so we're quite a ways away from the unfortunate events at Fukushima. And so you look at different models and different plumes, and they say that radioactive contamination's only traveling approximately 70 miles from that location. And as time goes on, those concentration of radioactivity is going down. We regularly conduct air sampling for background radiological, just what's in the air. Radiation is all around us, so there is radiation here.
I know what radiation is and can do to the body, and if I thought for a minute that my kids were going to be in danger, then I would make sure that I sent them away to a safe place to be.
My decontamination platoon shares about 3 or 4 tasks that we provide help with the 35th CE. And one of them includes the Applegate operations, where we monitor 100% vehicles that enter in the installation here in Misawa. Another one is post-sortie aircraft monitoring, where if an aircraft does fly in, and we will monitor that as well.
35 hours after the quake, Misawa Air Base turned into a major transit hub and safe haven. Operation Tomodachi was in full swing. The airfield ramp was a hive of activity, receiving and launching aircraft full of humanitarian assistance and disaster relief supplies and aid workers.
Load that first one off. I'm gonna have the AT pull in behind the K-loader.
Right now we're capable of taking on about 600 pallets of relief coming in. That humanitarian relief will sit around, wait for airlift to get it down into the areas that need that relief.
We are literally open 24 hours a day and having planes, 24/7.
Over 170 aircraft, to include Air Force C-17 Globemaster IIIs, Air Force and Navy C-130 Hercules, and Navy HH-60 Seahawks ferried in more than 500 passengers and tons of cargo.
We've moved roughly 400,000 pounds of cargo, saw nearly 100 increments coming in for various organizations, search and rescue teams coming in, 250 personnel that were mobilized to go south of Misawa, going to north of Sendai to help out with the devastation from the earthquake that occurred there. And also now we're looking at forwarding on via surface, via air, to a lot of these areas that need this relief and search and rescue efforts as soon as possible.
This feat was successful almost entirely due to the hard work of the 35th Logistics Readiness Squadron's cargo load teams and Petroleum, Oils, and Lubricants Flight.
There's a definite urgency to get these planes downloaded as quickly as possible, for the fact that we have a schedule throughout the day of C-130, C-17s that are supposed to be coming in, but we're getting many of them dropping out of the sky that are unannounced as far as we'll get a phone call, 15 mics, they're coming in. So as we're unloading one, we'll sometimes see another one getting ready to touch down and know we gotta get this one downloaded as soon as possible because we got another one.
After the aircraft were downloaded, the logistics team was not finished. In order to get the aircraft back in the air, they had to be fueled.
It feels awesome when real world stuff actually happens. Without my fuel going on that aircraft, it can't happen. I think we probably have 16 just today for aircraft. Then we do transient aircraft, C-17s, 767s, the Patriot Express.
Misawa Air Base also served as a shelter for Americans in northern Japan.
But what we're focusing on here is for our off-base facilities, the places with non-potable water or possibly no water and power. And what we're wanting to prioritize is getting those folks from off-base on base if they need. In our fitness center here where we have a bed-down facility, this front annex right now is set up to hold 120 people. This is contingency setup. It's similar to what we do in a NEO, but this isn't a NEO. It's simply a humanitarian bed-down right now. Altogether, in all the spots we've got, nooks and crannies in our Potter Fitness Center, we can house about 345 people.
The power's on as well as heated water to take a hot shower. We've had 360 people plus come in here today for a hot shower, as well as anybody who would like to come in and with that power outage to come in here and get a cot, we offer that as well.
Yeah, I've seen this sort of operation exercise for NEO exercises before, and I always thought to myself, wow, you know, wouldn't it be something if you actually had to use this? It actually had this facility where in a time of emergency it provided you a warm place to sleep, a cot, a place that is good for your family, bathroom facility, showers. So this is what Potter is offering us tonight, which I think is incredibly crucial to what's happening right now.
The teachers from Sendai were a group of folks who arrived at our gate just a few nights into the situation. They were mostly college graduates, some of them professional teachers who had a few years of experience behind them, on contract to teach at a private academy in the Sendai area. Following, of course, the disaster in that area, they evacuated, and they were looking for a place to go.
We had like aftershock after aftershock, and they really started off just like the first one. It was just tremendous shaking. Our house was just completely, you know, structurally okay, but there's barely anything standing.
Some of the school buses that ferry kids to the school, they had buses, and so they have about, I think, 20 buses. And so what they were able to do was to siphon gas from the buses, and basically said, you know, we're sending a couple buses up to the base in Misawa, and that they have cots up there, and that you guys can hang out for a bit and kind of wait this out, figure out what we're going to do.
Everyone's been terrific, and they had the cots ready for us to go. It took us right into the base, just signed us up.
These are the teachers from Sendai that were displaced with the tsunami and the earthquake, and they came up here for shelter, and so they've been living in the gym, and we wanted to feed them and love them and give them a good home-cooked meal.
We're serving lasagna and salad and brownies and garlic bread.
I had a soldier yesterday come up to us and say, "Are you guys hungry? You guys tired of the food? Do you want me to go off base and get you Taco Bell?" And we were like, "Are you really? Really, you would do that?" And he's like, "Yeah." And we're like, "Do you have to be here?" And he's like, "No, I'm volunteering." And to hear that people were volunteering their time because we were here, that's just so touching. We are so lucky. I've never been so proud to be an American and so thankful to have this support, because I know that I really don't know where we would be if we weren't here.
We are absolutely advising everyone to not travel back to Sendai until they've lifted travel restrictions. It potentially, life-threateningly dangerous.
Urban search and rescue teams from Fairfax County, Virginia, Los Angeles, and the United Kingdom arrived at the base on March 13, 2011.
We are in Misawa, Japan, which is a Mori prefecture like our state. Closest city you may have heard of on the news is Hachinohe. That's where the tsunami kind of went through there, crested, did a little damage, and it finished up at a mall not far from here, supposedly. The problem is, you know more about what's going on than we do. We just got power back.
The teams consisted of approximately 210 workers and 14 rescue dogs.
We've been tasked hopefully to work with the two teams from the United States as a joint team and see if we can provide some assistance in search and rescue.
The team is comprised of rescue workers, structural specialists. We have our own communication. We have also doctors on board to treat any of the team members if they become ill, safety officer, logistics of course, and ground transportation.
These dogs are trained to find live human scent under the debris. If they find this live human scent under any type of rocks or any other type of debris, they'll take a mark to let us know that they found something.
Shortly after arrival, they traveled to Ofunadu, Japan, in the Miyagi Prefecture to help with the search and rescue operations.
We coordinated and executed all the ground transportation as far as to go to the site. We set up tractor trailer support, bus support, so we moved the entire mission down there with approximately 9 pickup trucks, 7 tractor trailer loads, and 4 buses.
The convoy began with a police escort provided by the city of Misawa. The 20-vehicle convoy included 7 tractor trailers, 8 pickup trucks, 4 buses, and 1 mobile maintenance vehicle. In all, there were more than 30 military drivers and escorts working together with the rescue teams to transport and offload the equipment. As they drove through Misawa City, Japanese citizens clapped and waved in appreciation of the effort.
We would like to express our grateful thanks. They'll call back to me. We'll talk to our liaison, and they'll have Lima go ahead and take care of it.
Logistical support did not end when the rescue teams arrived in Ofunado. The following day, Japan Air Self-Defense Force CH-47J Chinook helicopters flew in more cargo and rescue personnel.
We got here about 40 hours after the earthquake. For us, it was a very large-scale, complex mission, not just problems with buildings, but also problems with debris piles. And just the scope and magnitude of the disaster was challenging for our team.
Our duty is to provide those affected by the disaster with food and water. We found the victims are really suffering from the unprecedented disaster and felt that we must help them the best we can. They are really thankful for the support of the Operation Tomodachi.
Based on the deteriorating conditions and uncertainty of the situation, the Department of State authorized the voluntary departure from Japan of spouses and families. Although there was no specific indication of any spread of radiation at amounts harmful to American citizens, this was a precautionary measure to ensure the optimal safety of the American people.
I think it'll be best for my kids to kind of get away from all the shaking and earthquakes and the stress of it all.
The process of moving this many people was another significant activity for Misawa Air Base, while continuing the humanitarian assistance and disaster relief mission.
We set up tables with each squadron NEO rep here so that we can have like a one-stop shop for squadrons to come in. They bring their NEO folders in, their spouses can bring it in, and we're going through and basically checking for everything that's in it to make sure that they're good to go, that they're ready to get out of here at a moment's notice.
Military families wishing to leave after the March 11th disaster gathered at the base club with passports, birth certificates, marriage licenses, pet records, and other documents needed to sign up for a flight out.
When you get here, you just have to make sure you have all your paperwork and you just go through the line, and if you have any questions, you ask the different booths, and it's been really easy so far.
Representatives from 12 base agencies such as the legal office, medical clinic, the post office, and the chapel helped families get their affairs in order prior to leaving.
Well, legal's very helpful in giving us, we just need a power of attorney and stuff like that. So they're very helpful. All we have to do is just go to their table, and it didn't take that long either.
Families were processed by priority status with personnel who had urgent medical needs and pregnant dependents first. Once families completed the necessary preparation steps, they waited to find out when to report to the club for final processing and aircraft boarding.
Whenever they call our number, we just have to be packed and ready to go.
I'm pregnant and I have a young son, so we just didn't want to take any chances. With all the lack of resources and all the other stuff going on, we thought it would be easier just to go home. He's going to work long hours, so us gone, he won't worry so much about getting home, and he'll be able to do his job a lot better.
We do have an inbound aircraft, so we have to stay within its our time frame. You know, they're only here for a certain amount of time, and at that time, you know, we have to get them up and loaded and get ready to go.
More than 1,200 Misawa family members volunteered to go back to the U.S., while their airman, soldier, or sailor focused on the critical role in support of relief efforts, helping to ensure the safety and security of our Japanese friends and allies. Hirosaki Nyozo waded knee-deep in sludge while searching for anything salvageable where his living room once was. 4 months earlier, the 79-year-old bought a brand new house for him and his wife to spend the rest of their lives together on the coast of northern Japan. An estimated 60-foot-high wave of seawater moving 500 miles per hour decimated his house and the entire village in seconds. Mr. Nyozo's story is one of many who lost so much in the aftermath. Yet after the waves subsided, the Japanese people would not be alone in their recovery efforts.
We'll do our best to help, both locally, and then I am organizing, like this, many volunteers to come help, with cleanup, and we will do what we can.
In response, airmen and sailors from the base created Misawa Helps, a consolidation of manpower, resources, and logistics dedicated to lending a hand outside the gates.
There were people that were going out on their own, and so we decided we needed to consolidate those efforts, and under the direction of Colonel Rothstein, we consolidated all the different base efforts here under one team, and that way we can work more efficiently and effectively throughout the community.
It helped a lot. Build up a good relationship and provide good communication between the two countries.
Service members, civilians, dependents, and Japanese self-defense forces gave their time and energy to work in areas where assistance was needed.
Our guys are down here basically helping them get the debris into specific locations so they can come in with a backhoe and dump trucks later and just pick it up and haul it off.
Misawa Helps projects were self-sustaining. Teams brought their own food, tools, and vehicles and sought nothing in return from the villages they assisted. It will take this team effort to help rebuild the community. Service members and civilians from the U.S. and Japan worked side by side with the local cities to clean up the debris.
We are working directly with town officials, so the prioritized projects from the town officials come here, and then we can assign personnel and resources to those projects and get maximum amount of participation. So we can get, we'll have 120 people out on one project and complete an entire project in a day instead of having it just being able to get half of the project done and having it languish for a few days.
Feels good working along with our chiefs here. They're leading by examples. Through them, we're learning something from them, pretty much showing the deck plate leadership around here.
The strength of the community shows how quickly they were able to put things back into shape. Within the first month, nearly 2,000 people participated in more than 40 missions to communities like Misawa, Hachinoe, and Nodamura Village.
I think I'm proudest of the heart demonstrated by everyone here, both in uniform and out of uniform, and making someone else their priority.
The Diversity Committee is sponsoring a humanitarian effort to help the people in Noda town who were severely affected by the tsunami and the earthquake, and they are in need of some food and clothing, and so we're making onigiri, rice balls, and we're making cupcakes as sort of a special treat. and we're going to deliver them to the schools, which are serving as a shelter for the displaced people. So we're going to load up a van and a truck with stuffed animals, onigiri rice balls, cupcakes, clothes, and we're going down and delivering goods and hoping to help out.
We've had many people repeatedly come out and help, and we've just had, from the community, we've had just such an outpouring of appreciation for the work that's being done.
You remember going out in the time that you were sitting in the village of Nodomura and looking at 400 homes that were destroyed and everything and the lives that were lost, and helping the Japanese people rebuild that. You will remember that for the rest of your life, and you will be glad you did that.
On April 7th, history repeated itself as a 7.1 magnitude earthquake shook Misawa. Like before, lights went out across the base and Misawa City as emergency protocols tripped breakers and local nuclear plants shut down. But the lessons of the previous 27 days had been well learned. Almost immediately, the Emergency Operations Center activated and took control of the unfolding crisis.
Here we are again, another earthquake, another power outage. I want to give everybody an update of where we stand. We don't know a whole lot at this time. We're basically about 2 hours after the quake. We do know, of course, that we've lost power, commercial power of the base, and it looks like in Misawa City too. We've confirmed that with Tohoku Electric.
Misawa Air Base responded like a well-oiled machine as airmen, soldiers, and sailors worked to restore power, ensure communication, and continue the base mission. Misawa Air Base rose to the challenges of Operation Tomodachi. What was accomplished was of tremendous service to one of our closest allies and the close friends and neighbors with whom we have shared so much for over 50 years.
でもおかげでミサワ水管が一番ナンバーワンだ。早くてどこもないよ。実はやってないんだよ。すごい。Your support, this area, we are recovered very soon. すごい。本当に。